The Galactic Alliance's Grand Chamber had never felt so small. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the Collective Council, her simple Navy uniform a stark contrast to the ornate diplomatic attire of the 200 alien representatives surrounding her. The massive crystalline dome above cast prismatic patterns across the chamber floor, but Chen's attention remained fixed on High Chancellor Vex Thor, whose iridescent scales rippled with barely contained agitation. "You're declining our assistance." Vex Thor's translator struggled to convey the incredulity in his tone. "After the Nexus swarm's attack on your world." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "With all due respect, Chancellor, we're not just declining your assistance. We're here to discuss your negligence." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated protests and expressions of shock. Chen activated a holographic display from her wrist device, projecting images of Earth's recent battle against the Nexus swarm. The alien armada had expected to find a primitive civilization. Instead, they'd encountered a prepared humanity. 3 months ago, the Nexus swarm attacked Earth. Chen continued, her voice cutting through the chaos. "They found our orbital defense grid waiting. They found our planetary shield network active. They found our response fleets ready." She paused, letting the implications sink in. What they didn't find was any warning from the Galactic Alliance about their approach. Vex Thor's scales shifted to a deep blue. "The Alliance has protocols." "Yes, your precious protocols," Chen interrupted. "The same protocols that let you watch 17 other civilizations fall to the swarm over the past century. We've accessed your archives, Chancellor. Every incident, every attack, every civilization lost while the Alliance observed and documented." The chamber grew deathly quiet. Chen switched the holographic display to show Earth's cities, not in ruins, but transforming. Humanity had not just survived the swarm's attack. They were already incorporating and improving upon the alien technology they'd salvaged. "We didn't just fight back," Chen explained. "We learned. We adapted. And now we know exactly how long the Alliance knew about the threat to Earth without warning us. 7 months. 7 months you watched the swarm approach our system. Understanding through adversity is a fundamental principle of galactic civilization," a counselor from the upper tiers called out. "Each species must prove their readiness." "Ready for what?" Chen challenged. "Ready to join an alliance that watches civilizations die in the name of observation. Ready to accept your guidance while you withhold crucial information. Ready to be grateful for table scraps of technology, while you hoard innovations that could save lives." She gestured to her aide, who distributed data crystals to the council members. "This contains our formal response to your offer of alliance membership, but it also contains something else. Proof that humanity has already made contact with 3 other civilizations in our sector. Civilizations you've classified as pre-contact species." The chamber erupted again, but Chen continued undeterred. "We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're informing you that Earth is establishing its own network of mutual defense and technological exchange with emerging civilizations. We're doing what you should have done, protecting and preparing those who need it most." Vex Thor rose from his seat, his massive form towering over the chamber. "This is unprecedented. You cannot simply ignore generations of galactic law and tradition." "Watch us," Chen replied calmly. "In the 3 weeks since we repelled the swarm, we've already shared early warning systems with our new allies. We're helping them prepare defensive technologies. We're doing this because it's right, not because some council deemed them worthy." She stepped closer to the Chancellor's podium. "Here's what's going to happen next. The Alliance can either adapt, work with us to create a new framework for galactic cooperation, or you can watch as more and more civilizations choose to join our network instead of waiting for your approval." Chen turned to leave, but paused at the chamber's entrance. "Oh, and Chancellor, the next time you detect a threat like the swarm heading toward a populated world, remember this moment. Remember what happened when you chose to watch instead of warn, because we'll be watching too." The chamber doors closed behind her with a resonating thud, leaving the Galactic Alliance's most powerful members to confront a reality they never expected. Humanity wasn't asking to join their game. Humanity had already started a new one. Admiral Krith paced the length of the Alliance's strategic command center, his crystalline appendages clicking against the polished floor. The holographic displays surrounding him told a story that defied centuries of established protocol. Humanity wasn't just surviving, they were thriving. "They've established contact with the Meridian Cluster," his aide reported, updating the tactical display. 3 more pre-contact civilizations have already accepted their offer of technological exchange. "Impossible," Krith muttered, though the evidence hovered before him in undeniable detail. "They can't have developed reliable translation matrices so quickly." "They didn't," a new voice interjected. Dr. Lyra Nash stepped into the command center, her Earth Science Division uniform, drawing sharp looks from the Alliance personnel. "We adapted the translation technology we salvaged from the Nexus swarm ships. Turns out when you're not artificially restricting innovation, progress happens rather quickly." Krith's crystalline form shifted colors, reflecting his unease. "Dr. Nash, this is a restricted area." "Not anymore," she interrupted, presenting a data chip. "As of 6 hours ago, Earth's representatives have been granted full access to Alliance military installations. Your Chancellor seems to think it might prevent us from," how did he put it, "accidentally destabilizing the entire galactic community." The displays updated again, showing new data streams. The Meridian Cluster civilizations weren't just accepting human assistance, they were already implementing advanced defense systems. Primitive fusion technology was being rapidly upgraded with hybrid human swarm designs. Early warning networks were expanding across their systems. "You don't understand what you're doing," Krith warned. "These species aren't ready for this level of advancement. The cultural shock alone. Like the shock of being annihilated, because no one warned them of an incoming threat," Nash countered. She pulled up her own data, showing cultural and technological integration rates. "We're not just handing them weapons, Admiral. We're sharing our history, our mistakes, our hard-learned lessons about unity in the face of existential threats." The Admiral studied the data, his military training forcing him to acknowledge the effectiveness of Earth's approach. Where the Alliance had always advocated slow, controlled advancement, humanity was proving that necessity truly was the mother of invention. "The Meridian species," he noted, "their development curves are already exceeding our theoretical models." "Because your models are based on isolation," Nash explained. "You separate civilizations, forcing them to develop alone. We're showing them the power of cooperation, of shared knowledge and mutual support." She brought up another display, this one showing Earth's rapidly expanding defense network. The salvage swarm technology had been completely redesigned, improved upon in ways that made the Admiral's crystalline structure vibrate with concern. "But the protocols exist for a reason," he argued. "Uncontrolled technological advancement has led to disaster countless times in galactic history. And controlled advancement led to the Nexus swarm," Nash countered. "An Alliance species so constrained by your regulations that they broke away, twisted themselves into something monstrous just to break free of your restrictions." The Admiral's color shifted to a deep indigo, the closest his species could come to paling. "How did you learn about the swarm's origins?" "We have friends in the Alliance now," Nash said simply. "Not everyone agrees with centuries of watching civilizations die in the name of natural development." She approached the central display, manipulating the controls to show a broader view of the galaxy. "In the 3 months since we repelled the swarm, humanity hasn't just been helping other civilizations prepare. We've been learning, Admiral. Learning about the Alliance's true history, about the countless species that could have been saved if someone had simply chosen to help." Krith moved to the display, his military mind already calculating the strategic implications. "The Alliance Council believes they can contain this situation. That humanity will eventually see the wisdom in our methods." Nash laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Contain us, Admiral. We're not some rebel faction you can isolate. We're offering the galaxy a choice: real cooperation or continued subjugation disguised as protection. She headed for the door, but turned back for a final observation. You know what the real paradox is, Admiral. Your alliance spent centuries trying to prevent civilizations from advancing too quickly, from gaining too much power too soon. But in doing so, you created exactly what you feared: a species that emerged stronger from isolation, that learned to innovate beyond your constraints, and that now threatens to undo your carefully maintained order. The door slid shut behind her, leaving Admiral Krith to stare at the displays, showing humanity's expanding influence. The carefully controlled galaxy he had sworn to protect was changing, and for the first time in his long military career, he wasn't certain if he was watching the beginning of chaos or the birth of something better. The Meridian Trading Station hung in space like a jewel, its spiral arms stretching out into the void. Once a quiet outpost on the edge of Alliance space, it had transformed into something unprecedented: the first truly independent interspecies commerce hub, free from Alliance oversight. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at the station's central observation deck, watching ships from a dozen different species dock and depart. Some were familiar Alliance designs, others were from Earth's growing coalition, and still others belonged to species that had only achieved spaceflight within the past year. The Alliance delegation has arrived, her XO, Commander Jackson, reported. They're requesting an immediate meeting. Rodriguez nodded, her eyes fixed on a particular vessel, a Nexus swarm scout ship, but not one captured in battle. This one had come willingly, carrying defectors. Let them wait 15 minutes. Let them see what they're trying to stop. The station's success was a direct challenge to everything the Alliance stood for. Where they demanded careful regulation of technological exchange, the Meridian Station hosted open forums where species freely shared innovations. Where the Alliance insisted on carefully managed cultural contact, here representatives from dozens of worlds mingled freely, learning from each other's successes and failures. Incoming transmission from Earth Command, Jackson announced. The Centauri cluster has officially joined our coalition. That makes 27 systems now. Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. And how many of those were on the Alliance's approved contact list? None, Jackson replied with a hint of satisfaction. They're all species the Alliance had classified as pre-space or early development. The observation deck's doors slid open, admitting a delegation that perfectly embodied the station's philosophy. Ambassador Chen was accompanied by representatives from 3 recently spacefaring races: the crystalline Voth, the aquatic Mirians, and the gaseous Koltar. Behind them came several Alliance species who had broken away from the old order. The Alliance Strategic Council is demanding we shut down the open technology exchanges, Chen reported without preamble. They're claiming we're violating at least 15 different galactic protocols. They're still thinking in terms of rules and regulations, the Voth representative chimed in, his crystalline form shifting colors with emotion. They cannot comprehend a system based on trust and mutual benefit. Rodriguez turned from the viewport to face the group. Show me the latest defense grid updates. A holographic display sprang to life, showing the expanding network of early warning systems and defensive installations across coalition space. What had started as humanity sharing their anti-swarm technology had evolved into something far more sophisticated, a truly cooperative defense initiative where each species contributed their unique insights and innovations. The Alliance fears what they cannot control, the Mirian delegate observed, her translucent form rippling. But they fear irrelevance even more. That's exactly what they're facing, Chen agreed. 3 more Alliance member species have formally requested to join our coalition. They're tired of progress being stifled in the name of stability. The Koltar representative, a shifting cloud of intelligent gas, formed into a rough humanoid shape. Our scientists have completed their analysis of the Nexus swarm defectors' testimony. The Alliance's restrictions didn't just drive them to rebellion. They forced them to twist their own biology, to become something horrific, just to break free of the constraints placed upon them. Rodriguez studied the station's traffic patterns, watching as ships from former enemies now docked side by side, their crews working together. The Alliance built its power on the principle of controlled development, claiming it was necessary to prevent species from destroying themselves. But look at what happens when we trust each other instead. The station's alert system chimed, indicating the arrival of more ships. The feeds showed vessels from the Alliance's strategic fleet taking up position just outside the station's defensive perimeter. "They're trying to intimidate us," Jackson observed. "No," Rodriguez corrected. "They're trying to understand us. Their entire system is built on the assumption that without their guidance, without their rules, the galaxy would descend into chaos." She gestured to the bustling station around them. "Instead, we're showing them a different way. Every peaceful exchange here, every successful cooperation between species, proves their fundamental assumptions wrong." Chen's communicator buzzed with an urgent message. "The Alliance Council is convening an emergency session. They're voting on whether to declare our coalition a threat to galactic stability." "Let them vote," Rodriguez said calmly. "Their own people are already voting with their actions. Look there." She pointed to a new arrival. An Alliance diplomatic vessel, its identification showing it carried representatives from 3 more species seeking to join the coalition. "They can't stop the tide," the Voth representative observed. "They can only choose whether to adapt or be swept away by it." Rodriguez turned back to the viewport, watching as ships continued their dance of arrival and departure. "Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology or our resilience," she mused. "It was our ability to imagine a different way, to look at an established system and ask why not something better." The station's lights dimmed briefly as its power grid incorporated a new innovation, a hybrid system combining human fusion technology with Voth crystal matrices and Mirian fluid dynamics. Another example of what was possible when species worked together freely. "The Alliance gave us a choice when we first defeated the Swarm," Rodriguez continued. "Join their system or stand alone. Instead, we chose to build something new. And now," she smiled as another ship of defectors appeared on the sensors. "Now they're the ones who have to choose. Evolve or become obsolete." The emergency alert echoed through every ship and station across both Alliance and Coalition space simultaneously. On the bridge of the Earth flagship Endeavour, Admiral Helena Santos watched as the impossible data streamed across her displays. "Confirm these readings," she ordered, her voice steady despite the implications of what she was seeing. The Void Gate, an ancient structure at the galaxy's edge that had been dormant for millennia, was activating. "Multiple Alliance vessels are approaching our position," her tactical officer reported, "including the Chancellor's flagship." Santos nodded. "Let them come. Whatever's happening, it affects us all." The massive form of the Alliance command ship emerged from hyperspace alongside the Endeavour. Within moments, a transmission cut through all channels. "This is Chancellor Vexthord to all vessels. We are detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our records. We request immediate consultation with Coalition leadership." Santos exchanged looks with her bridge crew. After months of escalating tension between the Alliance and humanity's growing coalition, this was the first direct communication from the Alliance's highest authority. "Chancellor," Santos responded, "we're detecting multiple anomalies emerging from the Void Gate. Our analysis suggests they're ships, but unlike any known design. The old ones." Vexthor's voice carried a weight of dread that transcended species barriers. "The legends speak of those who built the gates, who vanished eons ago. We never believed." The sensors blazed with new alerts as massive vessels began emerging from the gate. Their designs defied conventional physics, their hulls seeming to bend reality around them. "All ships, battle stations," Santos commanded. The Coalition fleet moved with practiced precision, their hybrid technologies forming a defensive screen. The Alliance vessels, despite their superior numbers, held back. "Admiral Santos," Vexthor transmitted again. Our records suggest these beings once ruled this galaxy. If they have returned, then we face them together. Santos finished. Chancellor, I'm transmitting coordination protocols developed by our coalition. Your ships can integrate with our defense network. There was a pause, heavy with centuries of tradition and protocol weighing against immediate necessity. The Alliance has never faced extinction before, Santos cut in. We can stand together now, or we can fall separately. Choose. The Old One's ships were moving now, their weapons unlike anything either humanity or the Alliance had encountered. The first blast from one of their vessels completely ignored traditional shields, vaporizing an Alliance cruiser. Multiple targets launching toward populated systems, Santos' tactical officer reported. They're bypassing our defensive lines, using some form of space-folding technology. Coalition vessels moving to intercept, another officer called out. But our engines can't match their speed. Santos opened a channel to all ships, Alliance and Coalition alike. This is Admiral Santos. We're looking at an extinction-level event. We need to combine our technologies now. Alliance ships have superior engine cores. Our Coalition vessels have advanced targeting systems. Together, we might have a chance. Apart, we're already dead. Vexthor's image appeared on her screen, his scales shifting through colors she'd never seen before. The protocols that separate our technologies. They are the foundation of galactic order. They're about to become the epitaph of galactic civilization. Santos countered. Choose, Chancellor. Now. Another Alliance ship vanished in a burst of impossible energy. On Santos' displays, she could see the Old One's vessels heading toward populated worlds. Their weapons could end civilizations. All Alliance vessels, Vexthor's voice rang out, carrying the weight of thousands of years of tradition being cast aside. Integrate with Coalition defense networks. Share all technological capabilities. May the ancestors forgive us. The next few minutes were chaos as ships from both fleets linked systems, centuries of separately developed technologies merging into something new. Alliance engine designs merged with Coalition targeting systems. Human adaptive shields combined with Alliance power cores. Multiple Old One vessels on attack vector, tactical reported. Impact in 30 seconds. Santos watched as Alliance and Coalition ships moved as one, their combined technologies creating defense patterns that would have been impossible hours ago. The first volley from their merged weapons struck an Old One ship, and for the first time, did damage. All vessels, Santos commanded. Forward positions. We hold here. Not for the Alliance, not for the Coalition, but for every living being in this galaxy. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations as the moment when the old order truly died, and something new was born in fire and necessity. The distinction between Alliance and Coalition began to blur as crews fought together, shared innovations in the heat of battle, and proved that the sum of their combined knowledge was greater than its parts. Hours later, as the last of the Old One ships retreated through the Void Gate, Santos looked out at the scattered fleet. Alliance and Coalition vessels were intermixed, their crews having learned to work together out of desperate need. The barriers between them had been broken not by choice, but by survival. Admiral, Vexthor's transmission came through on a private channel. It seems we have much to discuss about the future. Santos smiled grimly. Yes, Chancellor, we do. And this time, we discuss it as equals. 1 year after the Battle of the Void Gate, the great chamber of Meridian Station hummed with activity. Where once the Alliance Council had sat in isolated splendor, now representatives from every spacefaring species gathered in a vast circular chamber. The traditional hierarchical tiers had been replaced by a level floor, symbolic of the new order taking shape. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood beside Chancellor Vexthor at the central podium, both of them watching as the final votes were tallied. The old Alliance was dying, and in its place, something unprecedented was being born. The motion to establish the Galactic Cooperative passes with unanimous approval, the voting AI announced. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of celebration in hundreds of different forms. from the crystalline chimes of the Voth to the subsonic vibrations of the gaseous coal tar. "I never thought I would see this day," Vexthor admitted, his scales shimmering with complex emotions. "The end of the Alliance's protocols, replaced by this." Chen smiled. "Not the end, Chancellor. A transformation. The best of the Alliance's experience combined with the innovation and adaptability of the Coalition." Around them, the evidence of this transformation was everywhere. The station itself was a testament to their new approach, its systems a seamless blend of technologies from dozens of species. Former Alliance researchers worked alongside Coalition scientists, their combined knowledge accelerating progress at an unprecedented rate. "The old ones will return," Vexthor noted grimly. "Our long-range sensors detect activity at other void gates across the galaxy. And when they do, they'll find us ready," Chen responded. "Not as separate civilizations bound by restrictive protocols, but as a unified galaxy that values both wisdom and innovation." The main display activated, showing the new defensive network spreading across known space. Every world, from the most advanced to those just achieving spaceflight, was now protected by technology that merged Alliance stability with Coalition creativity. Admiral Santos appeared on the command platform, her uniform bearing the new insignia of the combined fleet. "The integration of Alliance and Coalition ships is complete," she reported. "Joint training exercises show a 300% increase in combat effectiveness. And more importantly," Chen added, "our outreach to pre-spaceflight civilizations has yielded remarkable results. When given the choice between isolation and guided development, every single one has chosen to join the cooperative." Vexthor moved to the master display, his movements carrying the weight of centuries of tradition wrestling with necessary change. "We were wrong," he admitted, addressing the chamber. "The Alliance's greatest error was not in seeking to protect developing civilizations, but in believing that protection required isolation and control." The display shifted to show a new contact, another civilization on the verge of achieving faster-than-light travel. Under the old system, they would have been left to develop alone, vulnerable to threats like the Nexus swarm or the old ones. Now they would be welcomed, protected, and given the choice of how quickly to advance. "Humanity taught us a crucial lesson," Vexthor continued. "True strength lies not in careful isolation, but in learning to trust, to share, to grow together. The Old One's attack proved that no civilization, no matter how advanced, can afford to stand alone." Chen stepped forward. "And we learned from you as well, Chancellor. The Alliance's experience, its understanding of the complexities of galactic civilization, these are invaluable. We were right to push for change, but you were right that change without wisdom can be dangerous." The chamber's attention turned to a new alert, another void gate showing signs of activity. But unlike the fear that had gripped them a year ago, now there was determination. Ships of mixed crews and combined technologies were already moving to defensive positions. "Let them come," Santos said firmly. "Every attack makes us stronger. Every challenge forces us to innovate together." The Old Ones expected to find a galaxy divided by protocols and suspicion. Instead, they'll face a unified civilization that takes the best from every culture, every species. As if to emphasize her point, a group of former Nexus swarm ships passed by the station's windows, their crews now working to protect the very civilizations they once hunted. They had found a better way to break free from constraints, not through destruction, but through cooperation. "The next generation will never know a galaxy divided," Chen observed. "They'll grow up in a civilization where sharing knowledge is the norm, where species help each other grow and develop naturally." Vexthor's scales shifted to a color of deep satisfaction. Perhaps that was the true test all along. Not whether civilizations could develop in isolation, but whether we could learn to trust each other enough to face the universe together. The chamber filled with light as the station's new quantum communication network activated, linking every world in their space in real-time conversation. Thousands of voices, thousands of species, all working together to forge something greater than any one civilization could achieve alone. The age of isolation was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and somewhere out in the darkness between the stars, ancient eyes watched as their carefully separated galaxy transformed into something they had never anticipated, a unified force ready to meet them as equals.